It's September, and you know what that means as far as themes for things this month. It means that I'm not creative enough to come up with something other than back to school. September is, sure, other holidays, other whatnots. I could have done Hispanic Heritage Month, although that one, interestingly, starts in the middle of September and ends in the middle of October. So maybe I should do that for October instead. I don't know. I felt like back to school, even doing it here in the middle/end of the month, isn't a bad thing, because you all have been back to school. You had your first day, you wore your new clothes, even though they were probably seasonally inappropriate at that point. You broke in all your new pencils, notebooks. Are we still using notebooks, or do they have you guys doing everything on your Chromebooks at this point? I like notebooks. I like pencils. I enjoy school supplies, even if I had mixed feelings about school starting when I was a teenager too. The supplies themselves, they're fun. But anyway, you've had your first days of each of your classes by now. They're well past. And now you're in that kind of lull where everything is starting to become old hat. You know, your schedules, everything is settling down. But you haven't quite hit that part where the workload starts really ramping up, where big assignments start looming over you, perhaps, unless your teachers are that kind of a teacher, in which case, sympathy. But so right now you're probably feeling relaxed but on edge at the same time. And we thought here at the library, thought that this might be really a good opportunity to remind you guys that that feeling on edge business doesn't have to be quite so bad. We are here to support you, whether you really need that help or whether you don't really need it as much yet. And I'm not just talking about the books and everything that we have on the shelves. You know that. I don't have to tell you that. Do you know what an encyclopedia is? Everything's online, right? Everything's online. And in fact, almost everything is. But not the way your teachers are feeling when they say, don't do online sources for this project. Because what we have are resources that we can provide to you just with your library card that will get you into databases with journals and articles and primary sources and all sorts of things to help support you. Everything from quick dictionaries all the way up to medical research papers, if that's your gig, if that's what you're working on. All you gotta do, go to the library website, and up under research and reference, you go to databases. And in there you will find Explora for middle school, for high school. You will find BadgerLink, which gives you access to a ton of resources. Learning Express is another good one you should definitely check out. These things are really great. They're great for fleshing out resources that you already have on hand, or if the project is due in 2 days and you're not going to be able to actually get out and get to a library, they're excellent for that too. And not just that, we have BrainFuse. This is kind of new. We added it in during the whole COVID shutdown. Now I know that Unified has provided you guys with access to online tutoring. BrainFuse is there for you too, if you want it. Live one-on-one tutoring, also access to test prep and virtual study rooms. You can meet up with your friends on there that'll have like a whiteboard you can collaborate on. It's fun. You should check it out. And of course, sometimes you just want to stop thinking about school for a bit. So we provide a little bit of escapism. This month we started a anime and manga club once a month. Register, come on in, watch Crunchyroll with us. We're having fun. We have a new writers club, the Writers Guild. We're gonna be meeting on Tuesdays. You should come join us for that. We are gonna be having an Amazing Race Library Edition. That's gonna be coming up near the end of this month. We're starting to try to kick up a youth advisory group called YALL, Young Adult Library Leaders. And this is for anyone who wants to get some volunteer hours working at the library, or who really enjoys working with social media and thinks they might want to get some practice doing social media for something like a library. It'd be a nice practice. I will let you take over our Tumblr. I will let you take over the teen Instagram. Go for it. And other things like doing displays at the library and helping plan and run programs here. We are all about letting you guys get in here and get your hands dirty and not just be like consumers, but actually have a voice in how things work around here. Got a relatively new director who is gung-ho about hearing from you guys in this way. So you can get information about all of this online on our website. And I'll put some links in here too, and in the brochure that's in your kit, which is back to school themed. Circling back around. I put some things in there, just some little trinkets for helping you organize your desk, which is probably already starting to get a little messy. And some sweets to help take your mind off the bad. A bunch of little things you'll enjoy, I hope. And our craft, which I'm probably procrastinating in talking about. It's a really cool craft. Do not get me wrong. You're gonna like it. It just took a while, and I had so much glue on my hands. I'm gonna make a desk lamp. Unfortunately, it's not like a desk lamp like bright enough to read by, but you'll see, it looks really cool. Let me show you. Okay, so you'll note in your bag there are a whole bunch of disassembled clothespins. You don't want to know how long it took me to disassemble them. There's also some popsicle sticks that have been cut into some shapes. You'll see. That was also tricky to do. Saws don't work well on them. And then there's a dowel with a thumbtack pressed into it. Finally, you'll see this. This is called EL wire. It acts like neon, only it's very flexible. There's batteries for it too. So now, the first thing you're going to want to do is divide up your clothespins. We want them in groups of 3. And if you have 2 different sizes, make sure that they are the same size. Once you've got them in groups of 3, you're going to make triangles of them. The easiest way to do this probably would be hot glue, because it's difficult to get them to stick together and stay together as you're working, unless you can get them to stick quickly. I used regular glue, just because with the amount of little divot dots of glue you're going to be doing, that was so many opportunities for me to burn my fingerprints off. And my other fellow librarians didn't need to hear me screaming out and crying out in the middle of story time every time it happened. So, keep dividing them up. Make sure, like I say, every triangle, every set of 3, that those clothespins are the same size. It's okay if one triangle is bigger than another, but you want them to be equilateral triangles, each and every one. Heh. You taking geometry? See how I slipped that in there? Anyway, you should just keep working on that and make triangle after triangle after triangle. Keep going. I mean, technically, we could have used fewer triangles. Your light would have been shorter. And if you really want to do that, break out your saw, cut your dowel down. Not yet. Not till you decide just how much triangle making you have in you. Because it totally looks better. It really does. You'll see what I mean. Triangle man, triangle man. They Want to Be Giants, that song. Oh, this is an awful lot of triangles. It really, truly is taking me back to geometry class. And all of those lovely formulas we had to memorize. And look at my field of triangles. Aren't they lovely? Let them dry. Let them dry all the way. But when you have one that is dry, we're going to start using our popsicle sticks. First, you're going to take the tall one, the one that's round on one side-ish, and then flat on the other, and you're going to put it along the hypotenuse. Boy, do I remember things from high school. Of your triangle. Then these two other little ones, they're going to flank it. You're essentially making a little platform here. See? A little glue to put it on there. And then put some on the other side. How gluey are your hands? Okay. Again, let this dry. All the way. Totally. Not just mostly. I said not just mostly. Don't do it. Don't. Okay, whatever. You'll learn. Alright. And you're going to stick your dowel on your platform. And if you were impatient, like I was, you're probably going to need to find some way to prop it now while it dries. Someday you'll learn. Or maybe you won't. In the meantime now, while that is drying, we are going to start overlapping our triangles at a rotation. You see? Each one turned so that they don't lay directly on top of each other. Looks sort of like well, it looks exactly like a Star of David symbol. Also sort of looks like I've joined the Illuminati making this, but I promise I have not. Anyway, just kind of keep making layer after layer, rotating each time. I suppose technically, if you wanted to, you could have done this with different shapes. If you wanted to do this with squares, you could have rotated them so it was diamond over diamond instead of triangle over triangle. But this looks nice. And plus, like I say, taking apart all of those clothespins, that was tricky. I'm putting the glue on the bottom layer now instead of on the top. It just makes it easier than trying to guess where it's going to hit before it hits. Just lay just a line of glue and it'll stick. Got it? Keep stacking. This really is kind of the meditative, monotonous part of this, but it's worth it. You'll see. Just keep gluing. If you're doing this with Elmer's glue and not hot glue or glue dots or anything like that, you may find that you run into some problems with the glue dripping down on the inside, especially if you're using different sized clothespins and the smaller ones are underneath, the bigger ones will drip down on top of them, and then you've got the whole thing glued to your desk, which I suppose if you never ever wanted to move it, might not be a bad thing, but this isn't even sitting on the base yet, so that would be not good. Alright, now let's get to the fun part. Set this aside and get out your yell wire. Really, really cool. I think you'll see. It is flexible, you can cut it to the right length. A lot of people like to use this for cosplay, sewing it onto clothing. What we're going to do is we are going to make a loop and tie it around that thumbtack. See, like that? Just make a loop over itself, and then as we start wrapping it around the dowel, is it dry? Anyway, if we start wrapping it around the dowel, it will hold itself in place, and then you don't have to worry too much. I've given you enough wire that you can wrap it around a decent number of times. In fact, you can wrap it around to the point where there's not a whole lot of dowel showing. between the top and the bottom. This stuff is not as bright as some other types of lights. Like, if we wanted to, we could have used flexible LED strips. But the problem with those is when you buy them, they come with one power source, and I've had to have cut a whole bunch of those strips and then buy extra power sources, and, well, the library is not rich, guys. So I found this stuff, and it's good. It's fun to play with. I've seen some people use it to, they hammer nails onto a board in a pattern, in the shape of a word, wrap this stuff around, and you can make your own neon sign to hang on a wall. Now, how cool is that? So anyway, we just keep wrapping. Around and around and around. Looks like some sort of battery coil. You might have to stop every now and again to untangle the parts that are not on the dowel, so it doesn't knot. But that's okay. Just keep wrapping. Around and around and around we go. Where we stop, well, certainly I know, because it'll be the bottom of the dowel or whenever we run out of wire. Alright, we're about there. You don't want to wrap the entire thing, because this is it's going to stick out the bottom so that you can turn the light on and off. So give yourself a little bit of a tail. So it's like a cord coming out of your lamp. See? There we go. Good grief, the glue is not dry yet. Why am I being so impatient about this? What am I going to do, sit there and hold it now? I have other things to do. Whatever. Alright, so here we go. We've got our dowel with our wire. We've got our very much not Illuminati symbols that we can now pick up because we have let things dry. And we are going to place them on top of each other, making sure that the bottom triangle, your base, is angled from the next layer. And we're not going to glue it. We're not going to glue this part because, I don't know, maybe you want to change the lights at some point. Pick yourself up some green EL wire or some blue. Anyway, check this out. I hope you put your batteries in. We're turning off the lights in here, turning on the wire, and presto changeo. Glowing. Ooh. Ah. See, the beacons of Gondor are alight, calling for aid. War is kindled. Looks kind of neat. Like I say, not gonna be bright enough to read by or do your homework by, but still pretty neat lighting for your room. By the way, just an FYI, yes, there is going to be a little light high-pitched noise. That doesn't mean there's anything wrong with your wire. That doesn't mean that the thing is going to catch fire. You don't have to worry about that. The noise is not a problem. Not that I'd leave the thing on for like hours and hours and hours. Likely the batteries would die long before anything happened, but be safe. Don't leave it on when you're not there. That's kind of good advice for pretty much any or most electrical things. You don't need to leave your desk lamp on. Save the environment, save the batteries, because we probably shouldn't be going through thousands and thousands of batteries. Anyway, I hope that you enjoy your lamp. If you want, you could paint it. I would stick to paints maybe that aren't gonna be a problem if they get too warm. The EL wire doesn't get all that warm. It really doesn't. Not like if it were actual neon in there or something like that. Does neon get hot? Well, that's a class I don't remember much of, chemistry. Anyway, you can do what you like with this. As I say, if you want to go disassemble your own clothespins, by the way, they disassemble best if you twist. If you want to do that, you could make a taller one. You could make it in different shapes. You could make a shorter one and then cut your wire. it'll work. It's the neat thing about this stuff. It's magic. I hope you like it. And I hope that I will see you at some of our upcoming teen things. I would love to see some actual teen faces coming into the library more than I am right now. So a few of you want to see more. I hope that you'll come back and join us again next month. October is going to be National Postcard Month. Did you know that? See you later.